Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are and what time you're watching us, by. Um, Welcome to this special Moriah event show. Welcome to this special Mother's Day discussion. Welcome to Inspiring Time with Juliet on Moriah Radio and television. I'm sure you know us all. As we mark Mother's Day this week, in fact, today, to be precise, we are reflecting on a topic that touches many homes and communities. Okay, single parenting in this generation. So today we're going to be exploring the realities and the challenges, the strengths and the hope of those raising children as a single parent across our communities. As we celebrate Mother's Day everywhere and reflect on the strength, the sacrifice, and the love that defines motherhood, for many, this journey is walked as a single parent, carrying both the joys and the challenges of raising children alone. So we're going to be honest in our discussion. We're going to be honest with this conversation today about the realities of single parenthood in this generation, the struggles, the resilience, and the victories. Our panelists will share their lived experiences. They're all single parents or have once in their life been one. They will share insights and they will also encourage many. Please do tune in and join us. As it says in Isaiah, and I like to use the scriptures 40, Isaiah 40:31 says, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers, and especially to every single parent doing their best each day. Thank you for joining us. Hey, we have our panelists this evening. The first person I'm so happy to introduce is a special lady called Peggy Barrett. She's a dedicated survivor empowerment coach. She's passionate about helping survivors of domestic abuse to heal, to rebuild their lives and become confident and resilient parents. She's going to be drawing from her personalized survival journey, professional training and academic qualification. She's going to be drawing it to give us insights to her own journey as a single parent today. Peggy, you are welcome to my show. I'm going to also introduce a lady that is also resilient, Mrs. Frances Masoko. She's the founder of Splotch Care Foundation Limited, a London-based charitable organization dedicated to supporting single parents living with long-term illness, people with disability and complex health issues. She's going to bring her own insight into this discussion. I am so excited, honestly. So I'm going to give my panelists some time to just talk to us about themselves and what they're doing and the project they are actually doing right now. I'm going to start with Peggy. Peggy, you're welcome to Inspiring Time with Juliet.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Juliet or Sister Juliet or whichever way. Whichever way. Thank you so much for putting this event, for today. It means a lot to parents, especially single parents. So, like you've already said, I'm a survivor empowerment coach, and I'm more of like helping inspire support survivors of domestic abuse who mostly are single parents to build their confidence and to become resilient parents, because I feel that that is one thing that is lacking after that journey of domestic abuse. So yeah, that is a brief introduction who I am and what I do.
And Frances, please tell us a bit more about yourself and explain to us what Splosh fully means.
Hello. Good evening, everyone watching.
Good evening.
Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers around the world. I hope you've been pampered today because you deserve it. My name is Frances Masakwe, as I've already been introduced. Thank you, Dr. Juliet, for having me on this wonderful show and discussing such very vital, discussion topic, single parenting. My background is I'm the founder of Splauge Care Foundation, a charitable organization initiated, newly launched, to address a critical need within our society, a topic or a need that is not often visible, within the system, which is single parents with long-term health challenges, disability, visible and invisible disability. We talk about young carers who are taking on adult responsibility such a young age, and they are all quite visible. The majority are visible within the system. So we are coming to highlight their presence, to make them visible to the society, so that they can get support, that is so much needed, in time of health crisis, when you don't have no support system, when you don't have no family around, and then looking after a child by yourself, when you yourself need the support desperately, what happened, So these are things we are trying to address. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. I'm a hair and beauty therapist and a support worker by profession, work in the media, entertainment, and event specialist. I work in hospitality management for 18 years. So I carry quite a diverse background of, in various industry. And my journey is a journey of live experience. So
Yeah.
I'm honored to be here this evening to talk to you all. Thank you for having me, Doctor.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Always, always a wonderful, time to discuss and talk about general issues with you. Okay, ladies, we're gonna go straight to that discussion, and I would just want to start by saying thank you so much for being here. Is it means a lot to me. Can you share a little about your journey as a single parent? Can you share just a little bit about it? I know it's a huge thing. You can't perhaps not able to start from somewhere. Try and start from somewhere. Tell us this journey. Where has it taken you to? Peggy, please. I'll start with you.
Right. So, like you say, it's a long journey and it can only be summarized. But I would say my journey of single parenting started in 2017. And that was when, unfortunately, my marriage had broken down. And like I always say, you know, it's not blame, not pushing blame to anyone. There's certain times that in life, when things are not working, it's not working, especially when we know that it's affecting both parties and even affecting the children. Sometimes it's always good to kind of, separate for the sake of peace for everybody. So, yeah, so that was the time that I think my journey of single parenting started. And I can say it's been challenging and it's been beautiful and it's been fulfilling
Mm,
all at the same
mm,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. And tell me about your own journey, Francis, please.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, my journey started 14 years ago. I now have a
Mhm.
beautiful 14 years old daughter who make me a very beautiful dinner today, which I'm so proud. But it hasn't been an easy journey. It hasn't been having to raise children even as a couple is quite challenging,
Yeah.
then talk less of doing it alone, being a parent, being the father, being the daughter figure, mother figure, and then at the
Yeah.
same time you are responsible for, their financial, emotional, physical being. Everything relies on you. Mine has been quite challenging. It has been a journey of resilience. It has been a journey of faith, hope in the Lord, because I'm a believer, and everything I do every day, my life is surrounded by God, because He has led me throughout to this day where I can smile now, but it hasn't been throughout a smiling journey. It hasn't been.
Imagine.
I watch my daughter at the age of 5, who has to look after me, and having realized that, wow, I'm a single parent. I have to care for a human being, a living being, when even myself, I'm being cared for by others. How is this going to work? Those are questions I used to ask myself. How is it going to work?
Mm.
I live with the complex health needs, and now suddenly I'm left to care for a human being when my strength is not enough. But
Yeah.
throughout my journey, I know that I wasn't alone. In time of darkness, it wasn't easy. In time of uncertainty, but one thing my journey has taught me has been to have faith in God, no matter the journey, no matter the circumstances. Have faith in God. Hope, have hope. Never lose hope,
Mm.
because when you
Mm.
lose hope, that's where the journey ends. But I never lose hope. I knew I wasn't fully capable as a parent, but I know that also there was moments of joy and immense happiness that I knew that, this journey is worth fighting for. And it has been quite a challenging and a rewarding journey. That's how my journey has been.
Mm.
I am quite grateful
Wow.
to the Almighty God for this journey, because
Wow.
I won't be here if it wasn't God.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So touching. I must confess, I was a single parent for a very long time. I identify. I know how it feels like. I know the joys. I know the sadness, the challenges, and we did not plan it that way. We didn't plan to be single parents. It was never, the plan. But we found ourselves in those situations, and it builds us up, and makes us strong. So this is the topic that I'm so passionate about, and you discussing it this way, I want us to be, mindful that we can't be emotional. It's good to be emotional about it. It can be emotional, but let's be open, let's lay it out there. I want us to just think about the biggest challenges a single parent faces in this generation. Can you begin to tell me? I mean, what is that biggest challenge a single parent is facing in this generation? Francis, I will start with you.
Biggest challenges single parents are facing in this generation. Number one, I would say emotional inadequate emotional support. Because where we sometimes wish to get emotional support from, because sometimes emotional support is very important. You can get it through community, you can get
Yeah.
it through churches, you can get it through, your family and friends. And when that is lacking, the challenges It's very
putting this event.
the challenges is very, hard. It's hard to maneuver around with your child. So having a support system around you, having places that you can turn to, visible to you to get support from is very, very, very important. We have financial challenges, like for example, I'm going to give you this scenario with someone, who goes through severe health challenges, on a regular basis, and which means the instability is bound to happen, because if when my health is down, I'm unable to work, which means there is this financial strain that is going to come in the picture. Also, the opportunity, opportunity for single parents in your workplace, consideration for your employees is very difficult. Every time you have to, go the extra mile to make yourself feel, value, to make yourself feel you are worth it, and these are the challenges that single parents are facing. And I feel that, the society really need more awareness, to have more compassion, to show more compassion in society, and to, provide resources, for example.
Yes. Yes.
Resources where, because when you have a child as a mom, there is no menu that says this is how it's going to happen. This is what you need to do. You have to just follow your instincts, and learn from around your surrounding or your family and friends. But, these things should be visible. These supports, these resources should be more available within society, so that people don't have to struggle the way, single parents are struggling within the system. If or there are centers available where, signposting is there, where when someone have a baby, you can go there and get some training, how to take care of that child. Those are things that is not, available much within the
For
system. And
single
for
parents,
single
yes.
parents, yeah,
For single parents.
more resources,
Wow.
how to raise children. These things shouldn't be just imagined in the head. It should be available, to empower parents, to maneuver and do their job to their ability. Because
We are talking about, I think you mentioned quite a lot about what the society, what the government, should be doing. But what can we, as a church, community, our different community, we come from different communities, I know everyone here is from a different country. We have our communities all around. How can these communities and the churches support single parents? Peggy, I'm going to throw that to you, because I know that we are doing a lot. We are doing different things in the communities. Are we thinking about the single parent when we're doing these things?
Yeah, that is a good question. And just like my sister Francis said, that community support is one of the building foundation or the building blocks to supporting parents. We know of an African saying that a child is not raised single-handedly. A child is raised by the community, and that is whether a community means family, churches. But the question is, what if we do not have the right community to raise up that child? So for me, we're talking about the challenges and how our communities can help. One of the ways that our communities can help is to try to understand try to navigate away, go away from the stigma of parenting. Because I feel that we live in a society, especially in the church, where they feel like, oh no, look, once you first of all get into that single parenting, just like Dr. Juliet said, nobody grows up or lives to decide to say, I'm going to be a single parent. Well, maybe a few kind of make that willful decision to becoming a single parent, but a majority of people, it happens by accident. It happens by, without their will.
Yes.
But nevertheless, whether it is willful or unwillful, at the end of the day, we've got this beautiful gift that God has given us. And our role is to raise them up, because that is a ministry. God has assigned these children to us as a ministry. So we need to raise those children. Now, how can our community come in to help us raise those children? It's first of all to take off that stigma, to see a single parent like, you know what, you deserve it. You were not good. You've not been a good wife, or you've not been a good, that is why you ended up being a single parent. So there is these labels, these negative labels that we keep giving single parents. And when we give them that label, it actually kills their parenting confidence. Because for me, I would say one of the biggest hindrance or the biggest obstacles to parents raising their children is that lack of confidence. And it is because the society or our community has given them that negative label. And so what I'm saying is that as a community, we need to be compassionate, just like our sister said. We need to learn to be compassionate. We need to learn to support. We don't need to be judged, because you don't know why that person became a single parent. So all we need to do is give them that support that they need. And the church as well needs to be, they need to change their language, and they need to change their script around single parenting, right? These are the most vulnerable set of individuals in the church and need support the most. So I feel that is the challenge that we need as a society. And then another thing I just wanted to pick up on that again is the conflicting information that we get on the social media, because social media is also playing a role. It's got a negative and a positive, but it all depends on what that single parent is watching and listening to. There are a lot of conflicting information, and this is where single parents need to be mindful. Who are you listening to? Where are you getting your information from? Because where you're getting your information, if it is not right, then that goes further to damage your parenting confidence, because you start feeling guilty that maybe you're not a perfect parent, maybe you're not doing well, but you forget to know that
you begin to judge.
Yes, you begin to judge yourself, but you forget that, hey, you're doing an amazing job, just like our sister said. You're doing an amazing job. In fact, you're doing a job of 2 people and even more. And so you should applaud yourself for it. And our community should be applauding parents, single parents, for doing that job of 3 all by themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. I applaud every single parent, whether you are a mother, whether you are a father raising your child by yourself or your children by yourself. I applaud everyone. I want to use this opportunity to welcome our other panel. She didn't come in, she had a little bit of difficulty coming in, but she's now here with us. And she is Mercy G. You are welcome. Mercy G is a dedicated professional. She's got over 25 years of experience in health and social care sector. Mercy is a proud founder and CEO of One Life, One Love, Healthy Lifestyle Foundation, a charity promoting holistic well-being through workshops, health and lifestyle training, and community-focused events. Mercy, you are welcome to Inspiring Time with Juliet.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that you managed to join us.
Thank you. I was itching to come on. I was like, what could I do? I need to change location, change gadget, but all things work together for our good, I'm very proud, happy to be here.
Welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome here. We're just tackling some of the questions, some of the issues, challenges, pertaining to single parenthood. I don't know for you, how do you balance work, Mercy? How do you balance work, finances, and parental responsibilities alone? How do you do
I
that?
mean, it's very challenging. One of the things that I must say is that, you know, you don't have a second person in command. You know, I'll give a very real story. Very recently, I was struggling. I mean, as women, let's just take us as women first. As women, our bodies go through certain physiological changes right from babies right up until the end. You know, we grow breasts, our periods, this, that, things are changing, and we have to deal with the emotions that go with that. You know, our hormones are never balanced because our ovaries are always letting out hormones. There's so much that we're already dealing with just for ourselves. So you're not only single parenting, but you're also having to manage your own well-being. You're also having to
Yeah.
manage your own health. And very recently, I wasn't too well, and you know, there's no one else, especially in those moments when you don't necessarily have an illness, but let's say there's a pain, you know, the onset of pain. What do you do? You know, what do you do when there's the onset of pain and you've still got to get your children to school? There's nobody else. There's no one that you can say, go and take so and so. You have to try. And I remember very recently that I was halfway down my road in pain and, you know, come on, children, slowly, slowly, tears in my eyes. And the neighbor happened to see me, and she had actually gone past us and gone to the shops on her way back. And I'm still struggling with these children. And she said, my dear, I know where your children's school is. Let me take your children to school. You go home
Wow.
and you get better. And she did that. And the reason I tell this story is because in the reality of things, we do not have the luxury of saying, baby, can you get the kids to school for me? I'm physically not well. I just do not have the physical ability to get them to school. So you draw on something inside. And if you are a believer, that thing is called grace. You draw on that thing inside to be able to allow you to do the impossible things. And you recognize that, you look back and you're like, how did I get through those times? And you realize that if you don't function from a place of grace, actually it is a lot harder than it needs to be, or a lot harder than it would be. But that element of community, which I've already heard, comes into play. You know, forming the right relationships, having the right members around you in close proximity. You may not have family members who live very near or close, but it's essential for you to put pride down and actually voice out your need. And I think as a community in itself, that's the part that we have difficulty with. We have difficulty with actually saying, hey, I'm really struggling here. I need some help, you know, and we're scared of services. We're actually scared of social services. We're scared of the services that are really, if we understand policies, procedures, we understand what governmental legislation is. If we understood all those things and took time to understand those things, we would cause it to work in our favor instead of against us. There are too many single mothers who are losing their babies. Too many. And I know of personal stories. Too many mothers who are in relationships just because they don't want to be single, so they're enduring things just because they don't know. And lack of knowledge is causing our people to perish.
Wow, that is another topic for another day. Those that are remaining in, that is a story for another day. Those that are remaining in a relationship, despite the fact that they are struggling, they're having, you know, emotional trauma, they're traumatized, there's a lot of domestic abuse going on, and yet they remain in those in those relationships because they fear to be single parent. That's another story. We'll
And they are single parents. They're single parenting with the body there.
I'm very
you know.
With the body there, not doing nothing.
Right.
Doing nothing. We are not discouraging. We're not discouraging family dynamics. We're not discouraging all of that. We are very concerned about a parent that is remaining in a relationship that is quite abusive, quite dangerous, in fact, and they are remaining there because they are afraid of being a single parent, looking after those children alone. I understand all of that. In this digital age that we are in, how can we guide our children through social media and through the media, through digital and social media in the world? How can we guide our children today? How can we guide them through? I remember when my children, first got their phone, they were always on that phone. I have to put some restrictions in, and how do you guide them through this generation of digital age and social media world? I know that we've just heard from you, Francis. I'm going to come to you in a minute, but Peggy, can you tell me, because I know that we talked about this issue some time ago regarding social media, the digital age, and how do you guide our children, through them?
Right. So that is we just have to be honest with you that we're living in a very, very challenging world where sometimes we feel like the social media is actually parenting our children, or in fact, it's got a upper hand in where our children get most information. It comes with the good and the bad. And our role as a parent is how do we manage it in such a way that it doesn't damage our children. And the temptation sometimes as parents is like, you know what, I'm going to restrict this child. You're not going to be on that. You're not going to be on that. But that is not the best way that we can actually help them. I was in that, and again, let me just share a little bit. Sometimes as parents, we feel like, you know what, the society has placed a lot of demand on us, especially like we want to prove ourselves, like prove to the society that my kids can achieve it, my kid can achieve that. And by so doing, we tend to like make our children say, you know what, don't have any social life. I just want you to study. I want you to do that. I want you to do. But we don't actually give a balance for those children to say that they are also learning from the social media. It is also a tool that they're using to learn. But which site are they using it, and are they using it responsibly? And this is where we come in. So just like you say, there are many ways that we can help our children to make sure that they browse safely on the internet. We can teach them responsibly. We can tell them that, look, these are the damages. These are the damages for you logging into your wrong website. We can put parental control. But one thing that I always say to parents is that, especially if your child is of a reasonable age, let them take the responsibility to manage their social media usage and the sites that they log into. Because when you give them the responsibility to do that, they are aware of why you're telling them not to use certain site. And when you give them that responsibility, I bet you they're even going to manage it better than you even controlling it. Because you may think that sometimes you're controlling it. They will bypass whatever you're putting in place. And they will go hiding and doing that thing that you feel that they're not doing. But when you give them that responsibility, when you give them the responsibility, especially if they're of a reasonable age, they themselves will know that, no, I cannot go on this website because it's not good for me, because A, B, C, D. And when they by any chance or kind of whatever go onto that website, they will come and tell us. My son sometimes will come and tell me that, oh mom, do you know this so and so person contacted me through this so and so site, and I knew that person was it was whatever name that you called. I don't want to call it here, so again, that was him taking the responsibility to say, you know what, I can spot that this person is not a genuine person. And so in a nutshell, what we're saying is that it's hard as parents. Where can we start from? By controlling. We go to work, we come back, we cook, we do all the house chores, we run businesses, we do that. Where do we even have the time to start monitoring that? Hey, are you on your media? Who are you watching? Who are you? It's hard. But even with that, we should not lose sight and just leave them, abandon them to do whatever thing they can. We still need to keep that control in place, but make sure we give them let them be responsible in a way.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is my view on that.
That's beautifully said. But Francis, do you agree that we should give them more responsibility to take control of what they watch and how they see it, what they see? How do we have that control? How can we begin to guide them in this challenging world of social media and digital worlds? I mean, there's a lot of AIs is coming up that is so worrying. But how do we guide them through this to knowing what?
I actually agree with almost actually of what Sister Peggy just said. I will just reiterate into that. I agree with, having to give them the opportunity, to be trusted. And it's very important as family, especially as a single parent, where you have your work balance and family life balance. And then you also need to be able to be on top of your children, where they go, what they access. You can't always be there. It's very difficult. So at the end of the day, it's just being able to be having an honest conversation with your children, an open and honest communication. For example, me and my daughter, we have this, it's like a ritual or tradition, some will call it. Every month we have one day in a month where we sit together for 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours. We talk. It's a non-judgmental space. You can say whatever you want to say. I will not judge you. And we talk about it. We find solution, and then we move forward. So in doing so, I get to learn a lot. I get to know her life, things that I won't see with my physical eyes. I get to hear it directly from her. And then in doing so, I'm also able to give her advice. In life, she's 14 years old now. It's a time of, advice, basically. So I let her know every action have consequences. You have to be able to take responsibility for your actions. I cannot always be around, but this and this is not right. This is the expectation that, as from where we come from, we have tradition, we have values. So we teach our children those values. And then it's important to occasionally we have to check in on them to know that, they are still having, take those things that we have taught them that is actually working for them. Because you need to know, you might teach A might not work, and then you have to now take a step back to see what else you can help to guide them, and protect them. You can't always be there with, but an honest communication is very, very important with your child so that they can trust you, and then you are able to be in full control of their movement. But you have to also let them be independent, to say. Let them be independent. Let them make some choices, because, they are growing up. But
Give them the space to make their own
give them
mistakes,
space.
isn't it?
But
To make their own mistakes.
But it's very important to keep track of everything, because if you don't do, like our sister rightly said, social media is teaching our children, so it's quite a challenging journey right now, especially. But if you look away as a parent, then definitely social media is going to win over your child. So
I just want to say thank you. Yeah, I want to just read out some things here. Some people are saying it is an interesting topic. People are greeting us. They're greeting the panel. So Felix Olusu, Tony White, Hugo, Luzola, and all the others that are watching us at this time. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and keep bringing those comments in. Thank you. I thank you so much, Francis, for raising that, for clarifying that, to give our children time and space to make their own mistakes as well, because they can learn. Most of us, we learn through mistakes, Mercy, I'm going to bring you in as we begin to close now. What lessons have you learned as a single parent you want others to learn? what are the lessons you have learned personally that
I
you
think
want
I would
any single parent that's listening to us now?
I would
Yeah.
definitely say there's the element of, and I did say it before, of support, knowing what's
Yeah.
available and accessible to you. A lot of what I'm hearing is, give them space and all the rest of it. But there is one thing that we don't always do well, and that is touching on emotional and mental well-being of our children and the impact that, having one parent may have, and so therefore, I would never ever glorify being a single parent. And I say that wholeheartedly because the fact of the matter is you are one person doing the job of more than one. And it does take twice as effort. It takes twice as much of your time. There are some things that you physically are not able to do. I'm a single mom with 4 children and my children's ages vary. I've got 16, 5, 8, 5, and 3. And so if you can imagine a parent who has a child who has 2 parents, you may be able to take your child swimming, gymnastics, music lessons, things that engages them more than them being on a social media platform, let's say. It's having an understanding of what each individual child's interests are, and recognizing that we need to build relationships with our children, but also understand what's going on for them at each stage in their lives. It's that balance, and it's difficult, it's challenging, but it's necessary. One thing I always do as a single mom is I'm always checking in on how they're managing their emotions. Because remember, a single parent is a parent to a child who is growing up, who will be an adult. And we want our generation who's coming to be more functioning than we were.
Yeah.
To be able to deal with things that we were not necessarily able to deal with, to be able to have emotional intelligence, manage their emotions better than we did. Because the truth of the matter is, some of the reason why some of us are single parents is because the parent ahead of us maybe didn't do so much of a good job. And we have to be realistic with that. There are some of the things that we went through that if it had been different, we may have navigated things a bit differently. And there's so many times I have women coming to my workshops, men, I have single men raising, children. And when you listen to them, it's quite heartbreaking and devastating. But the fact is, it's because we haven't learned how to validate emotions, talk about mental health, look at what's available, tap into knowledge. You talked about the digital platforms. Some of us haven't got a clue what's going on. You say digital and it's like, say what? I don't even, you mention the word and it's like, what is that? So I think we have to be engaged, and we shouldn't be afraid of what we don't know. Rather, find out. If you don't know, get to know, get the help, get the support, find out what's in your immediate facility. I struggled because I was reliant on family, which is fantastic. I have an amazing family. This evening I came to a single mum's house to talk to her children, a sister-in-law, to speak to her children, to reiterate to them that your mother is not alone. You have other mums. There's issues in the family. You have other mums. They call us mum too. To let them know that this is a collective. So let's not shy away. Let's not glorify it, but let's be real with what we're facing, what the challenges are, what the ups and downs are. Let's try and be as transparent as we can for the better, not for judgment. And if somebody's judging you because you need help, go ahead and let them judge. It's about your children and yourself, the generation that you're bringing up, and making sure your mental well-being is also generally intact. That is what I've learned, and I've learned that the hard way.
I know. And isn't it wonderful that we can learn and we can teach others? It's amazing.
Absolutely.
My goodness, my panel. I know you people can talk till tomorrow. Given this space, I wish we had the time. I think we have to be giving these discussions more time so we can get more out of you all. We have run out of time, unfortunately. As we celebrate this Mother's Day today, I want to just kind of recognize a very special woman in my life, my mother. Juliana. She's the woman that raised us. I know we had our father there and everything, but I know that this lady raised us so specially. She was like watching where you're going. who is your friend? If you dare mess up with any of our child, she comes out to you. I'm telling you. So I want to recognize my mom, Juliana, today. She is at home. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done to raise us. She raised 5 children, five
Wow.
girls and three boys.
Hi, Mom.
So
Wow.
happy Mother's Day to her.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Oh, panel, I can't thank you enough. You've been wonderful. As we come to the end of this special Mother's Day discussion on single parenting, I want to sincerely thank you all, for your honesty, for your courage, for your wisdom in sharing your experiences to us. Honestly, your stories remind all of us that while single parents can be challenging, it can also be filled with joy and strength and resilience and deep love towards those that we look after. I want to wish you well in all that you do, because I know that everyone here has got projects and things that they're doing in the community, within the homes and everything. I want to wish you well in all of it. And I'm hoping that one day we're going to come back again to tackle this topic in a different light, perhaps looking at it in an emotional, how do we support our children emotionally as a single parent? Perhaps that will be a topic to look at. So Peggy, thank you. Francis, thank you. Mercy, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. And I wish you well. And all our viewers, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're going to end it today. And please join us next week for another challenging, another insight, topics that we're going to be dealing with. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you.